Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about our NFL draft prospect out of Virginia Tech, it's the offensive tackle, Christian Darrisaw. It's the man himself, Logan Landers. How's it going, Mr. Landers?
Jeremiah, it's a beautiful Monday morning. The birds are chirping. We lost an hour of sleep, unfortunately, so we might be a little bit groggy here this morning. We're still trying to get used to it, like all of our listeners out there. But we're here, as always, doing it live, doing some draft profiles, and we got a good one here today with Christian Darrisaw. Let me tell you.
Yeah, so this is a big guy, offensive tackle, coming out of Virginia Tech. Mr. Landers, make sure you tell us everything because we're really excited these days about all the draft profiles you bring. One of the things that I'm really loving is that you always tell us about 3 teams that you feel would be great for them to be drafted to. And then for everybody watching, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And make sure to jump over and listen to our podcast too, 100 Yards of Football. Well, without further ado, Mr. Landers, tell us about Christian Darrisaw.
And the thing I like about Christian Darrisaw in the beginning, man, is he wasn't really ranked that high. People didn't really give him a fair shot. Coming in out of high school, he was only a 3-star recruit. He didn't get that many big offers from a lot of big teams. Well, as you can see in the picture here, he got wound up at Virginia Tech with the Hokies. And man, from such kind of humble beginnings to one of the more top offensive tackles in the NFL draft, you always love to see those kind of stories, those feel-good, heartwarming stories, especially on a Monday like this, man. But this is a big guy, though. This is a huge dude. He's 6'4" or 6'5", 315 pounds. So he's got a lot of weight on him already. And at the offensive tackle position, you got to have some good mass to you in order to block all those opposing defenses that are going to be trying to get past you, and most importantly, trying to get to the quarterback. But man, Christian's done a phenomenal job at Virginia Tech. He's got third team All-ACC, second team All-ACC. And this past season, he got it, the first team All-ACC. So he's gotten better each and every season. And this guy is very special, I think. This past 2020 season in college football, as we know, was the COVID-shortened season. But it didn't matter to this guy. He played in all 9 games that Virginia Tech played in, and he was a great starter at the left tackle position, where it's looking like he might go in the NFL draft. But like a lot of these guys on the line, usually if you can play left tackle, they can switch over to right tackle. It just depends. He had a really stellar career at Virginia Tech. He's really good in his run blocking as well. The highlight from this past 2020 season was he earned an ACC offensive lineman after he helped Virginia Tech rush for 324 yards in a game against Duke back in when was it? It was in October. That was when it was. So, man, just that's good to have a line that you can just push people around like a bulldozer and get those stats piled up. I mean, hey, this guy's everything you want in a top tier offensive tackle, I believe. In 2019, back when the world was a little bit better, back when we go outside and watch some college football without mask on, man, he started all 13 games at left tackle once again. So that shows me that in these past 2 seasons, that he's been able to stay healthy, first off, which is key. He's been able to stay injury-free, and he's been productive, which is all you want to see in your big guys up front with the offensive line, man, because that's kind of the scary thing is that in the NFL, these guys, they're so huge. That one bad fall on their legs, that might take them out for the season or something like that. That might twist an ankle. That might break a leg. You never know, just because the sheer weight that these guys have, along with the force of the other players that could be falling on them and whatnot. And it's just always kind of a big risk anytime you got someone that big on your team. And if they end up, getting an injury, that might hurt your offensive production for weeks on end in NFL or in college. But something that Mr. Darrisaw has proven to me is that, hey, he can stay on the field with the best teams. He's playing the ACC. There's no slouches over there. I think there's a team that everyone's known about over there, won a few national titles, number 1 draft picks coming out of there. I think their name is Clemson. So he's been able to go up against them, and he's done some work against them. So the other thing I like about him, Jeremiah, is he's got really good athleticism for a big guy. And at 300 pounds, you've got to be able to move around. You can't just be a big block. You got to be able to get out of the way, be a little shifty. And that's what I like about him. He's a great player when it comes to just getting guys out of his way and really just helping out the run game primarily. That's where he excels at, I think, in my opinion. The pass blocking, he's going to get better and better. But I think overall, man, this is one of the premier offensive tackles coming out of this NFL, coming into the NFL draft. And, I've seen some people list him around the top 5 when it comes to this list. And I very well agree with him. He's got all the tools you want in a quality offensive tackle. He's got the good hands. He's got a little bit of, he's got the good shifty ability to him to get out the way, to push people around. He's got the power. That's what you want for first and foremost is that does he have a lot of power? And can he help out, whether it's blocking for the run game or protecting your quarterback in the passing game? And Mr. Darrisaw, he can do all that and then some. So that's some of the attributes I like about him. Jeremiah, I like to do things here. You mentioned it in the intro. I got my 3 teams who I think this young man might be headed to in the NFL draft. And as always, leave a comment if you think my predictions are right, or if I'm completely wrong, if you want your team to scoop them up, let us know why in the comments. We love to have the fan interaction here on the show. So my first team I think Christian would fit in would be the Los Angeles Chargers. My second team, the Indianapolis Colts, and finally the third team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So all 3 of those teams have something in common. They have a really good quarterback under center, and they need some help. They need some help here. You got Los Angeles Chargers. You got Justin Herbert, Rookie of the Year last year. You got to be able to protect your key asset and then some. Indianapolis Colts. They just got that big trade we all know about. They got to protect their QB1, because we know you got to have him on the field, man. You got to have that man on the field no matter what if you want him to have a good season. And finally, my third team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger's been doing it good for a while now, but he is getting a little bit older. Let's just be real here. He's getting a little bit older up in age, and he's not going to have as much mobility as he's had in past years, which it wasn't too much, but even more now so than ever, he is getting older, and you got to be able to protect him since he is more of a stagnant pocket passer quarterback more than ever. Yeah. So you got, Justin Herbert, someone who can do it all, I believe. He can run, he can scramble, he can throw with the best of them. You got Carson Wentz, who's coming off of injuries and a really not a good 2020 season. So he's looking to prove something with a good offensive line, because the Eagles, they hurt him a lot, man, with that offensive line. That hurt his stock a lot. He got sacked around 40 times last season. And so he's just hoping somewhere he can feel a little safe. And I think Christian Darrisaw would help him out tremendously at the left tackle position, because that's one of the more key positions for football, because, for the majority of quarterbacks that are right-handed, you don't know what's coming on your left side. That's behind you. That's your blind side. So that would be a great fit for them. And then finally for the Pittsburgh Steelers, like I said, they need to get a better running back. I think James Conner hasn't had the best season, honestly, and they might find one in the NFL draft. There's a lot of good running backs coming up also. But you got to get your offensive line on par. You got to get them stacked up, because without a good offensive line, man, it's hard. It's really hard to be successful in the NFL. And we saw in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes was running for his dear life, built like every single play, because he had, I believe it was 2 or 3 offensive linemen that were out for the whole game that were starters. So that just shows you there that if you have a good offensive line, that you can go a long ways. And if, unfortunately, if those guys either get hurt or if they're just not up to par, then it might be a rough going at it. But overall, I think Christian Darrisaw would be a tremendous fit with either of those 3 teams, or as well as I think any team that gets him. They're going to get a premium, high-quality offensive tackle, and I'm looking forward to where this guy goes in the draft.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I definitely think that he would be an asset on any of those 3 teams. One thing we did is a little bit off topic. We had a question come in from Michelangelo. He said his favorite team is the Arizona Cardinals, and they had the number 16 pick. He says, my guess is J.C. Horn, CB South Carolina will be the pick. We need our interior OL next. Who is a good OG that you think will be available for us in the second round? Can you drop some names for me, please?
Hey, first off, great question, man. We always love to see all the comments coming in. Thank you, Mr. Michelangelo Catterson, first off, for the awesome comment. So you got the Arizona Cardinals, right? The Arizona Cardinals, y'all got a lot of hype around you. J.C. Horn, hey, he's a good talent, man, coming out of South Carolina. But the offensive line, there's a lot of good offensive linemen coming into this draft, I think. And the Cardinals have a premium team, I think. They're one of those teams that they're going to be on the upcoming, man. They just got J.J. Watt, we saw a couple of weeks ago, for the defense. They got Kyler Murray, who's their star quarterback for who knows how long. Honestly, he's a great athlete, first and foremost. And then, they got DeAndre Hopkins, who's potentially, one of, if not the best premium wide receivers in the NFL. But for the offensive line, man, we've done a lot of guys on the show here, Jeremiah, that we've talked about over the past few weeks. And I think that if the Cardinals were to get somebody, man, they got a few guys. So in the 2021 draft, we've covered a lot of people. And, hey, Christian Darrisaw, he might end up there. You never know. That would be a wonderful fit, I think, if he was able to go to the Arizona Cardinals. But there's a lot of other premium draft prospects coming out, and that could be in the second round. So we'll have to see. But, man, there's a lot of good guys, I think. There's a lot of guys you can grab up from the SEC, I believe. We got some guys from Georgia we've talked about here on the show that you could get for a premium pick. Hey, you got Ben Hill, who we've talked about, or Trey Hill, Trey Hill, we've talked about a couple of weeks ago. He's a good pick, I believe. That might be a good scoop up if you are in the Arizona Cardinals. You keep wearing that red, too, as he did for the Bulldogs. So we'll have to see. But I really think that the Cardinals are in a good spot. And if they were able to get a premium offensive guard, then that might get them over the top, honestly, because they got all the tools to really kind of get over there and get to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But they just need a few more pieces, Jeremiah, if they were to get over to the mountaintop and get back to the Super Bowl like they were about 2009, I believe. So it's been a while. It's been a few years, but it's looking good now. It's looking good. The guards changed a lot since then. You got to be able to have a premium guard who can do both the rushing and the pass blocking. And we'll have to see who goes to the Cardinals. But, hey, thanks for the question, though, man. We always love good fan interaction.
Yeah, and we love good fan interactions, and we always want to know what you guys are thinking. So please tell us your final thoughts on Christian Darrisaw, and then I will run us out.
Yeah, so Christian Darrisaw, love the kid. Love him coming out of Virginia Tech. I think he really is one of the top offensive linemen in football that's going to be going into this draft. I've seen some draft experts say he could maybe slide to the second round. So there we go back with that comment. He could slide just because this 2021 draft has a lot of talent, not just at the offensive guard position, but just, quarterbacks. There's about 4 to 5 quarterbacks that are going to be taken in the first round, it looks like, man. There's a lot of good ones, a lot of good running backs, a lot of good defensive players as well. So he could potentially slide to the second round. And like Michelangelo said, he might end up with the Cardinals if fate is going good that day for him. If he has a good breakfast that morning, who knows? If the sun is shining just right, he might end up in the Arizona region. So we'll have to see. But I do like Christian Darrisaw. I think he's going to be a great pick for whatever team gets him, and a really good offensive lineman for 10 to 15 years. Hopefully, he has a good long storied career. He's able to put up good numbers. As many numbers as these offensive linemen can put up, which is how many quarterback sacks can they allow? Hopefully, this guy allows a very minimal. And most importantly, how many pancake blocks can he get? How many guys can he shove out the way? And hopefully that racks up and gets really high. But I'm looking forward to this guy, and I hope he has a great career in the NFL.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, tell us if you agree. Like, where do you think Christian Darrisaw is going to end up? Tell us in the comments because we'd love to know. And are there any other players' profiles that you'd love to see us do, college profiles for people going towards the NFL draft? Let us know again in the comments or send us a message or head over to our website, 100 Yards of Football, sportstalkradio.com, and you can tell us all about it. And then for everybody listening or not listening yet on our podcast, make sure you go over and check out our podcast. Just look up 100 Yards of Football wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's over on Spotify, which is where I usually listen, or even over on Apple Music and Apple Podcasts, where you can listen to our podcast daily, because we put out a podcast pretty much every day. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Mr. Landers, for bringing us this amazing draft profile for Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle from Virginia Tech. So for everybody here at 100 Yards of Football, I'm Jeremiah Long, the producer, and we'll see you in just another moment on another